Hey guys, it's Austin here. Just came in from work and I was gonna do this video out in the shop like I normally do, but it's like 20 degrees out right now. So I decided I'm gonna come into the office where it's nice and warm. We don't have to worry about listening to a heater or anything. And I just kind of want to recap a few things. We're coming to an end of 2021. You know, everything's doing good. Business is growing and you know, YouTube channel's growing, so that's awesome. But I just wanted to, we've been getting tons of questions on like our comments and, you know, people ask me personally and, or message me or whatever. And it kind of dawned on me the other day, like I always answer that person, but now we're starting to get like reoccurring questions. So for the next, I don't know if they'll be consecutively the next videos, but I'm just gonna pick like 5 questions that I get asked a lot, or maybe 4 questions and kind of like a tip going, just to kind of, you know, help answer some of the questions you guys have, and all of that. I'm just trying to, yeah, there it is. So I got 4 questions here, and kind of like, well, they're 5 questions. They're 5 questions. So the first one, I've been asked this a couple times. Personally, people have asked me, and I think finally someone said it in the comments the other day, is on my Hobart Champion Elite, the engine drive I have on the back of my truck. I think it's got 120 hours on it now, but a lot of people have asked me, what is the break-in policy for a machine like that? And if I could dig through all this paperwork, everything's a mess right now because we're finalizing tax stuff, but personally, I didn't do any like break-in protocol or anything like that. Reason being is when I got that machine, I ended up having to drive across the state to get it because it was the only one in the state that I could find that was new, and I was on a job where I needed it that week, but I couldn't leave that job to go get it. So I ended up making do with what I had. And then on the weekend, when everyone was off, I drove across the state, got the thing. I think I had to put money down over the phone. They wanted like $400 to ship it over to me. And I think I had to put money down for them just to hold it because they had a couple people looking at it, and it's like, you know, I can't be there for 3 days to get it. But so anyway, so personally, when we got it back, we got welding leads put right on it, and it just went right to work. What I did was I opened everything up, make sure it had filters on it, make sure I couldn't see any like oddball like debris or dust anywhere, checked all the fluids, make sure the filters were tight. I fired it up. I let it run for a little bit. Put fuel in it, obviously. Fired it up. Let it run for a little bit. You know, just to let oil circulate everywhere and make sure all that stuff was going to work. And then, honestly, it just started padding beads. And, I mean, it's worked great ever since. If anyone knows exactly what you're supposed to do, you can drop that in the comment section. I'll appreciate it, and I'm sure the other followers will too. Also, guys, I do just want to say we hit our goal for 500 subscribers before the end of the year. That's awesome. I'm a big goal in like New Year's resolutions, guys. I know that's like corny or whatever, but next year, I really want to push it and try to get 3,000 subscribers on this channel. So, like I can pull up the data right now on my computer. A lot of the people who watch this aren't subscribed, so I don't want to sound like a broken record, but please hit that subscribe button. And because like when I post a video and it gets good views and good subscription kickback, I know like that's the kind of videos I need to be making. So second, I get this question all the frickin' time. Excuse me if the camera's shaking, that's our dog. Anyways, I get this question all the frickin' time, and it's, hey, I'm in welding school, I want to be a mobile welder, work for myself, and we don't even have to like generalize it as mobile welding. I do get that one a lot, but let's just say I want to be a welder. I want to work for myself. When I graduate school, am I going to be able to make it working for myself? And that's a pretty like broad topic, because one, we don't know what quality school you're going to. Are you going to like a high school program, and then when you graduate high school, you're gonna and you just know how to weld beads? Are you going to like a top pipe school program, and when you're out, you're gonna have your 6G cert and ready to go weld pipe, and they're gonna show you how to fit it and all that stuff? But in general, I'm just gonna assume like maybe you don't know much. So I went to a welding school that I'd say was kind of mid-grade, and they taught us welding processes. That's what we knew. We knew how to like fit plate and all that kind of stuff, or fit pipe. We touched on that a little bit, and we knew like hand tools, grinders. The thing is this, like I wanted to be a fabricator with almost really no fabrication experience, and it turns out I like fabricating, but I would much rather someone else buy all the equipment and me go work for them and figure out I don't like it, than buy all the equipment for myself and decide I don't like it. So should you go work for someone after welding school? I would say yes. I would say yes, definitely. That doesn't mean you can't take on jobs on the side. That's how I started. Okay. It almost follows suit. Like whenever someone asks me, hey, I'm starting my own welding business, or I just got out of school, should I start my welding business? It always follows suits is, should I go get insurance? Here's the thing. I say yes. One, you have to be able to afford it first. And I would probably say if you can't afford insurance, again, I like to be prepared, overly prepared for things. If you're not sure you can afford insurance, maybe cut back on what the insurance coverage is and just work on a smaller market, or maybe you need to wait and save up some more capital. I know a lot of people don't like hearing wait because you want to be ready now, but trust me, there's definitely things I would have done differently. That can be a different video. But yeah, if you can afford it, definitely get insurance just to protect yourself. And a lot of it depends on like what you're even working on. You have to check with your like state and local guidelines to be sure. But like if you wanted to build trailers, or something that goes down the road, something could get hurt, something has a defect, something on your end messes up, you don't want to get sued, especially if you're just starting out. So I would say for sure 100% get insurance, but call around, get plenty of quotes, because everyone's going to tell you different. I think I went through like 3 guys. Just calling, hey, I'm doing mobile welding, can you insure me? Oh no, we don't have anything with that. If you want to like send us pictures of your shop or something, we can insure that, and kind of like kick the mobile welding as like a broad coverage thing. And I was like, I don't even have a building to like send you pictures of. When I started mobile welding, we lived in an apartment, so that wasn't work out. Finally, I found someone who was like, look, I can cover you for mobile welding. Get a shop as quick as you can, because it'd be cheaper to cover a shop and just have like a mobile service truck out there. Sorry, we got a lab, I'm going to say puppy. He's almost a year and he's 95 pounds and he is getting into stuff in my feet. So anyways, so should you get insurance day one? If you can afford it, yes. If you can't afford it, maybe cut back on the coverage, or wait until you can. I will say this, if you have like someone getting ready to give you work and they want you to be insured, like I've been to businesses where they like won't even let me on the grounds to work if I don't have insurance, if I'm not licensed and insured. So if you have someone who's like, look, man, I can keep you busy for the next 6 months for sure, and probably more after that with work, just go get the insurance because it will probably pay out. So I took a full sheet of notes in case anyone's wondering what I'm doing. So question number 4, again, this is kind of focusing on like day 1, starting your own thing, coming up with a plan. People ask just what's some general advice for starting a business. There's a lot of guys on here who talk like just welding stuff. In this video at least, I'm trying to get more on like the business side of things because there's a lot of hidden costs. So save up as much as you can and start small. Try not to borrow money, and the next question I'll really go into depth at a good example as to why you don't want to borrow money. But start small, save as much as you can before. I knew I wanted to be a fabricator and mobile welder, and I figured that out by watching people on YouTube. Like I'd watch a couple guys and their day-to-day lives. I was like, hey, that looks pretty cool, I want to get into that. But it took me 3 years before by the time I decided like, hey, this is what I want to do, and then the day I started doing it. It took 3 years. I did a school and then 2 years of working. And I do like oddball jobs in between there, but it was 3 years before I had enough money saved and enough experience done up to where I felt comfortable going out and just starting on my own. And 3 years is a long time for some, short time for others, and different businesses will have different avenues to travel. You might be able to save up for like 2 months and you buy a machine and the machine's self-explanatory. It's hard to say. Like mine, it required some skill and it required some equipment. And there's a lot of hidden costs, like initial material cost, equipment cost, insurance costs, etc. Those kind of creeped up on me and bit me in the hind end because I wasn't thinking about all that. I was thinking about, okay, these are the tools I need, and I think these are where I'm gonna start finding jobs. And I bought equipment before, like way before I started advertising. I should have done that a little differently. Like I started buying equipment while I was in school, while I was in welding school. And like the first thing I bought was a TIG welder because I really liked TIG welding in school. So I thought, I know, I'll just get a TIG welder and then I'll sit at home and I'll TIG weld parts all day and I'll send them out. And it was great on paper, but in reality, I didn't know what parts I would make and I didn't know who I'd be sending them to. And it really didn't happen. I ended up buying a big generator to run the stick welder off of, or to run the TIG welder as a stick welder off that generator, and I got into mobile stuff because I was surrounded by loggers and farmers, and that's just what was needed in my area. The last thing is general advice. It's gonna take time. You might get lucky and it might blow up right away and you're making money. It might not. Don't get discouraged. If that's your dream, that's what you want to do. Just keep consistent and know that like it's gonna take really tight financial planning in most cases. In the second case, it's gonna be an outside of the box thinker, I guess, is like the best way I could describe it. Like I said, it took 3 years for us to start our business, and it did. And a big thing about those 3 years was it was getting myself financially ready to take a big pay decrease, like almost down to nothing. So it was like we got our living expenses, what we need to live on, super low so that we could live a super comfortable life, going on vacations, driving decent vehicles that are paid for, stuff like that, just off like my wife's income alone. And then that gave me like, then I can make money, maybe if we need a little, I can just pull it up, and maybe if we need a little extra here, like we want to redo our bathroom or something, I can pull some out. But it can just let me spool up the money to then pay back into the business and keep growing. So general advice for starting: don't have any overhead. Get yourself financially set first, because you want to have a good foundation to start your business on. And just don't get discouraged. If that's your dream, make it work. Make it work. And I'll the last two kind of go in together, and I want to get going on this last one right now. So little backstory before I ask this last question. Well, I started my business. I went out on my own at the end of 2019. And if I remember correctly, at the end of 2019, I worked for a few months. Things were just kind of starting to get in. I was getting, I might not be working full days every day, but I was able to go out, maybe do a 4-hour job here and a 2-hour job there, and then, just keep going like that. And 2020 is when COVID hit and everything got shut down. So the question is, what kept my business going during the initial COVID-19 and throughout? Because we've been dealing with it for like 2 years now, which is crazy. And it goes back to what I was saying in the last question. I didn't owe anybody money on the equipment. If I would have went out day one, spent $50G on a truck and $10G on welders and tools, $60,000, there's no way I would have made it with the jobs that were coming in. So back then, like, my big markets were people like businesses, like, hey, we need you to come in and fix this like aluminum, or we need you to rework this platform or build us a platform. We did have a few farmers we did, but that was really it. Like, I wasn't getting tons of work, but I didn't owe anybody any money. So like that small amount of money that was coming in, I could pretty much take it all, So had I invested all that money in, or had I borrowed all that money on equipment, I wouldn't have made it. I wouldn't have been able to make truck payments or even like welder payments or anything like that. It simply wouldn't have happened. I think we had 3 months between when we were like, hey, this is it, day one, we're starting, and then 3 months after that, COVID hit and everything got shut down. And like, if we remember back then, everyone, like, at least in my area, was like, oh, if you're not essential, don't go out, don't work. And it was like, okay, well, who's essential, who's not? And it, like, I kind of just went out and I kept working. I figured, what, like, I talked to like a couple farmers. Hey, farmers are essential. We need our equipment fixed. I'm essential. So I kept out. I went working, and then like it was really hard. Like, there would be weeks where like I might pay myself a few hundred, fill up, restock on rod and fuel and stuff like that, and be good. And you'd have to have money saved up, in case you get a big order come in and you got to go spend $5,000 on steel. That was really hard. The thing that kind of became like a little saving grace, for me, and some of them, they fell short, was when all the restaurants got closed down. That was like their time to go, okay, hey, they'll call me, like, some of our stainless steel sinks or whatever, some stuff's broke. So, like, whenever the restaurants got closed down, I went in and, like, I could do a little stainless steel sanitary work and fix some stuff for some restaurants. And that worked good, like, for, like, maybe 2 or 3 weeks. We got some of that work. I don't know if I was the only guy in the area that could do it or what, but we got some of that work. And then, but then, like, they had to stay closed so long that dried up like really, really fast. So it was a struggle. And then 9 months in to having a business, and I remember this to this day, I had just signed up for, it was going to be my best paying job to date, which it was like a couple $1,000s, but it was like 3 or 4 days of work, maybe that much. And I went out, I quoted him, we agreed on a number. As I was driving home, someone pulled out in front of me and smashed the front of my truck. Turns out, so I went from being on like cloud nine, like, oh, it's finally happening, we're making money, to my truck just got ruined. I can't go to that job now. I lost it. I called them. I said, well, if we could reschedule or something. My truck just got smashed. It's going to be a while before it's fixed, because everything was, still closed down. We were starting to have trouble getting parts and stuff. And he said, hey, I wish I could, but I can't. I need it done, just to keep us moving. So sorry. I lost that one. I lost a few other small ones, and then I lost, because it ended up being a whole thing with the guy. There was like a big insurance issue. And then I lost, I almost lost like a couple other people, and then I've noticed that like I didn't see them again for a while after, so I almost wonder if they went somewhere else for a while. So our first year was like, stuff got thrown at us. Like, it was a problem our first year, but luckily enough, like, I didn't owe anybody money, so the little bit of work I was bringing in, when my truck got in an accident, we had a place by then, and I wasn't, I was still advertising for All Mobile, but when people call in, I'd say, yeah, if you bring it to me, I can do it. And they would literally end of the driveway or drop it off wherever, and I would move it over by my truck. My truck couldn't move. Well, I had my welder and everything on there, and I would just fire it up and weld it right there. So I'm going to say the only reason we got through COVID business-wise was because we had next to no overhead. I mean, we didn't owe on welders or anything. The following year, our winter was really slow. I wasn't sure what to plan for. Our winter was really, really slow. We were still able to, in the spring, have enough money to buy that Hobart welder, as long as stock up on some steel and stuff like that. So we were able to pinch pennies and just get through it. There's tons of people out there who couldn't, and I'm not going to say it's because they had a bunch of money or a bunch of overhead or whatever. I'm sure it's for their own reasons everywhere. I'm not trying to offend anyone, but for us, what got us through it was we didn't owe anybody money. Like I said, there's things that I'm sure it's probably every business owner will say it. There's things I wish I would have done super different, but that's the video. Till next time, talk to you later.